This is the Angry Birds Bird Minute, sponsored by Angry Birds for their 15th anniversary, where we tell you about a cool bird that may or may not be angry. This week's bird is the powerful owl. This Australian apex predator lives up to its name, with powerful talons and a wingspan of about 4 feet across. Their feathers range from browns to grays to whites, and they have bright yellow eyes surrounded by a face mask of dark feathers. Powerful owls are the largest owl in their genus and the largest owl in all of Australia. And for those who like strange roadside attractions, you can find a 26-foot tall statue of one of these birds in the Australian Capital Territory, appropriately entitled The Big Powerful Owl. But are they angry? Powerful owls are the top nocturnal predators in their range, feeding on tree-dwelling marsupials including gliders, possums, and even koalas. On a scale of 1 to angry, we rate the powerful owl as hungry. Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
This is Wild Green Streams. I'm Curtis.
I'm Io.
And today on the podcast, we're going to be discussing what, Io?
We don't know yet. We're going to let you, the viewers, aka the listeners, decide. We are putting up a poll as we speak, and we are going to improv talk about whatever the topics are as they change to be in first place. So,
just to clarify, not you, the listeners who are currently listening, you, the viewers on our Facebook group, Wild Green Names for Ecological Fiends, at the time of recording. We do not yet have the technology to interact with viewers as they listen to the episode that we've already recorded.
If we have a live show one day, you never know.
The way we're doing this is we have a poll going and people are voting on what we should talk about in real time, delayed time for those of you who are not existing on April 5th at 5:36 p.m. EST. And we're just going to talk about whatever they vote on. And once one topic gets bumped out of the top of the poll, we have to switch topics. No nature topic within reason is off limits. I just shared the link. And,
I have it. Oh, perfect. I can pull it.
And let's see what kind of chaos we have in store. But can they? Why? Io, thoughts on this?
I think they can. Why? But should they? Is the real question that they were so busy questioning whether they could why, they didn't stop to think about whether they should why. And I think that's an oversight on everybody's part.
Yeah, everybody's asking, but can they why? No one's asking, but how they why.
Yeah. When they why, or why they why,
Yeah. Who are they whying? For those of you who are utterly confused and don't know about the deep lore of But Can They Why, it was a typo I made. I was making a meme about scallops can have up to 200 eyes, but can they see why kids love Cinnamon Toast Crunch, quoting that commercial from the 90s. I missed the word see, and it became But Can They Why? And yeah, it's still there. This is haunting me. This is gonna haunt me for the rest of my life. That little typo. Yeah, scallops are very cool.
They are.
They do have up to 200 eyes, bright blue eyes. They're like the biblically accurate angels of the sea.
The biblically accurate angels of the sea. We have another suggestion, poll option. Not in first place yet, but we'll maybe talking about them by the time you listen to this in the future will influence the past, because you never know, of
time's a flat circle,
banana for scale, and beans. And I think the real question is what percentage of a banana is if maybe how there's a foot that's a banana, maybe beans is the inches. So instead of using feet and inches, we use bananas and beans. Then the question is what beans do you use, because there are many types of beans. Or maybe that's the problem of before they standardize measurements, people just had measurements all over the place. But also that's a thing that I learned, some people's job is measuring things really, really incredibly finely and minutely and making sure that they are accurate to 1,000th of a whatever, because depending on what field you're in, those measurements really, really matter. And I was like, whoa, that's cool.
Yeah, but Cantley has a significant lead. I think we're just going to have to talk about scallops for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Improv is hard sometimes.
Well, they are cool because for those of you who have ever watched SpongeBob, the scallops fly, and as a kid I was like, oh, that's like not real. They don't swim like that. They do swim like that.
Oh yeah.
They're not sedentary the same way that like mussels are, or the same way that barnacles are, where they're bound to a surface or they stick onto a surface. They can move around, and it's quite bizarre if you've seen videos of lots of scallops scattering around to think of something that looks like it would be sessile, which means not moving, staying in one place, to be moving quite quickly, actually, especially lots of them all at once.
If you take them out of the water too, I've seen this, they will attempt that and just end up like clapping on dry land and not getting anywhere.
Can they shoot water or no?
I don't think so. I don't know how they eat. How do scallops eat?
They filter feed, don't they?
Yeah, so that would imply... Yeah, so they're filtering the phytoplankton out of the water column. So I would think they have some sort of method of squirting water.
I mean, I assume that there is some way that the water leaves their mouth, but can they do it with such force that it, is... I don't know if that would be a predator, because I know like some clams and stuff can shoot water, and all shellfish are the same, obviously. So I wonder if scallops can do it, but I don't think they can.
Yeah, can scallops shoot water?
About to find out. They can also get pretty big.
Yeah.
They're also delicious.
Mm.
Sorry to scallop fans out there.
Or different types of scallop fans might agree with that statement.
It depends.
I'm different types of scallop fans.
It's true.
Yeah.
Apparently in like different, like the scallops that you get here in America, they're just sort of like a puck size, but scallops have something called a beard, which is another part of their body that I forget what it is.
Isn't that mussels?
Maybe.
Mussels have byssal threads, which are like... This is probably a terrible metaphor, and some malacologist is going to call me out for it. But mussels create this stuff called byssal threads, which is like the spider webs of mussels, only it's like the... sort of like the texture and consistency of steel wool, and they just like make it. And it's how, if you see like mussels attached to a pier piling or a rock or anything, they are making this big fibrous thread that is kind of sticky on the ends and is just kind of attaching itself to both the other mussels in the colony and to the rock or the harbor piling or a lobster or horseshoe crab or whatever animal they might attach to. So that's called the beard because it's still stuck on the inside of, or at least in culinary terms, it's called the beard because it's still stuck on the inside of the mussel and needs to be cleaned out so you're not eating these little bits of fibrous thread while you're trying to enjoy seafood. But yeah, that's what's going on there.
But scallops do also have beards, which is not the mussel. The mussel part of the scallop is
not the mussel.
Not the mussel. Confusing. Mussel spelled muscle. The muscle inside of the scallop that holds it closed is like the kind of circular, tiny, flat cylinder part that you eat. But they also have beards, which I believe is like their digestive tract, which you can also usually discarded, but they can contain a lot of flavor. And sometimes they're made to make bouillon, etc., etc. But apparently it's like in the UK and England, if you're in the UK and England and I'm wrong, sorry, but I guess they eat that a lot there. So I know like people who are used to eating scallops over there then come to the States and they're like, where's the rest of it? Because in the States we usually don't include the beards in. So there you go.
So this has become our bivalve spectacular episode. I'm still intrigued to see if the poll changes.
We got a couple possibilities, but with Can They Why being the first option in, I feel people are going to keep pressing the meme button and see how long we can go on with this.
Do you remember the Cinnamon Toast Crunch commercial that I'm referencing? Or am I dating myself?
I remember... I don't know if I remember that specific... I think I do. I remember there was one where it was like a bunch of people... Like, there was cuts of all different scenes, and one of the scene was like people in a plane looking down, and the farmer had like carved in the field like, can they see why? Or people just kept saying like, why, and they were every one of all these different professions and and it was like, can they see why?
I don't remember
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
That one.
Maybe regional differences.
Yeah, my one I remember is there's a lifeguard who can like see every ways the kids are and people are misbehaving, and he's like total control freak, but he somehow cannot see why kids love Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Well, a scallop might make a good lifeguard because they do have so many eyes.
But how are they going to rescue anyone?
Well, we did establish that they could swim pretty quickly.
But they don't have limbs. Kind of an essential.
I mean, maybe not. I think if you had enough scallops, they could all, like how birds make murmurations, where they all fly together in a big flock together. If you had a murmuration of scallops...
It's like the birth of Venus from the seashell, the Botticelli painting, only it's a whole bunch of scallops just raising somebody out of the swimming pool.
Exactly. Or like how sometimes when whales are born, their mother pushes the baby on her back up to the surface. That's what all the scallops are doing to the drowning person. They're raising them up to the surface and also to the side of the pool.
You know about whale third wheeling, right?
Whale third... I might not from this name, though.
I mean, that's just like slang application. I'm sure a whale expert could tell me the actual terms.
A wexpert.
They've either observed or theorized, I don't remember what, I've just seen diagrams of it, that to help whales mate with just the gravity and buoyancy going on there, a third whale at the bottom with its back to the upside down whale will kind of push the other whale
really
up and give him a little boost.
Is this real?
According to science diagrams
that look like shit posts.
Yeah, science diagram of whale.
I believe it. There are many stories in nature of animals wingmanning each other. In probably one of the more well-known cases, there was a bird documentary that I believe David Attenborough narrated, or maybe not. Sorry, David Attenborough, or whoever narrates it if I got it wrong. But a kind of bird called a mannequin. They're like blue something mannequin, and they do a little coordinated dance, the four of them, but three of them are literally the wingmen, and then only the one of them gets to mate, but they like all do these like rehearsed practice dances. So maybe...
I'm sharing this diagram with you in the chat, and I will read said diagram. Mating behavior in gray whales. Gray whales often mate with the help of a third party, another male that props the female against the mating whale. So yeah, we got our one whale on top, one whale on bottom, third whale just kind of there for
pushing
emotional,
them together,
physical,
for morale, physical support. It like kind of makes sense because like if you think about it, in the ocean, not a lot of like hard surfaces to get leverage against, you know? Like I remember way back some thing about space or something, and you know how things in space are, or like in orbit have, you know, are nearly weightless because of such little gravity. And someone was saying like, because things don't weigh anything, could you like go up to the International Space Station and push it? And they were like, well, you could, but what is going to happen is not that you are going to move the International Space Station, but the International Space Station is going to like move you. Yeah. Like you're not pushing, because it's so much bigger, and also because there's nothing for you to push against, you have less mass, so instead of pushing it away, you're just going to be pushing yourself away. So in the ocean, you push against another whale, but you're just not going to go anywhere. But if you've got another whale buddy to help prop you up, now we're getting somewhere.
Somebody phrased it in a way where it's like, now it makes sense and makes space more terrifying, that it's not so much that you are floating in space, but in a constant state of falling, but not really getting anywhere.
Yeah, it took me a long time to figure that out, how that worked, where you're basically just falling forever. And then I saw one animation that they had a cartoon Earth, and then there was a cartoon cannon sitting on top of the Earth, and it like shot a cannonball, but it only went, a little bit, and it hit the ground. And like just a small arc, and then it hit the Earth again, and they shot it a cannon again, but it was more powerful, and it just like jetted off into space. It didn't circle the Earth because it had too much power. And then they did it at a medium speed, where then instead of jetting off into space or crashing into the Earth, it just kept circling. So it's always falling, but it's not enough to hit, like the Earth keeps turning away from it.
It's falling with style.
It's falling with style, and like that still is a crazy concept that I'm like, sometimes I learn things about space and I'm like, that's not real, but like it is, and that's one of them.
That's the vibe that space has.
Like before I knew there were legless lizards, someone was like, did you know there are legless lizards? And I'm like, yeah, they're called snakes, which is sort of correct, because snakes like are lizards that lost their legs and became different. So it's like I was right, but I was also wrong at the same time. I think it was on the poll and then disappeared, so maybe it didn't get enough votes, but someone said taxonomy, and I saw a post about taxonomy the other day that said, like, teaching other people taxonomy is frustrating because you have to tell them that it's not just based on vibes, but then, like, when you really get into it, it, like, just is based on vibes. Like, it's just so much. Whenever I think about, especially if I'm trying to explain it to someone, I'm like, I want a whiteboard. I want some expo markers. I want to sit you down, and we're gonna,
like Charlie from Always Sunny with the conspiracy theory board.
But I'm like, I never bring my portable whiteboard is always in the wash. Like, my expo markers, I always forget them. So,
I think emergency whiteboards should be a thing. You just kind of always need them at all times.
If they can make solar panels that origami fold and then unfold in space, they should be able to make whiteboards that origami fold, and then I can unfold them when I need to explain taxonomy to people.
Here's my $1 trillion idea. Whiteboard markers that last long.
I have found the key is that you do need to put the lids back on them. A difficult lesson for lots of children to learn. It's me, I'm children. But yeah, they always run out. Do we want to jump to any of the ones that are not in the lead but are gaining?
Just so we can get a few questions in, I'm going to set up a stopwatch.
Oh, fancy.
And I'm going to give us 2 minutes on the clock, and we're going to try to get through as many of these questions as
many as possible? Oh my gosh, this is going to be hard.
This is our lightning round. What are we talking about?
The topic is favorite ugly animals and their coolness.
I will go with something ugly and their coolness. Ooh. It's like beauty's in the eye of the beholder. You got one?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Well, I think the classic that people think is always ugly is the blobfish. But really, the blobfish has been done so dirty because they are built to live pressurized.
They're built different.
They're just built different. Like, if I took a person and took them to the bottom of the ocean, they'd look weird. Or if I took a person and put them into space, they'd look weird. The same with the blobfish. They're just different habitats. And they don't have swim bladders, I believe, which is what most fish use to, like, keep themselves buoyant. And they also live at such deep pressures that, like, the pressure of the water helps keep their body together. And so the one picture that everyone's used to seeing has been, like, dead, brought to the surface. It was, I think, caught in fishing gear or something. So, like, she's having a rough day. And it looks like a fish when you see videos of them swimming around on the ground. Another classic is, like, a lot of different insects. People think they're ugly because they don't like them, but also a lot of the, like, weird camouflage that they have. Like, there's bugs that look like bird poop on purpose and on poopus. And thank you very much. We'll be here all week. And that's, like, really cool that they have evolved with. There's just a million, there's so many, I didn't like bugs until I took a class on them, and then I was like, whoa, like, are people talking about this? Bugs are crazy. Any alien you want, bugs exist.
That's time.
All right.
And I found one I like. No further elaboration, just recluse core spider emoji.
Yeah.
I mean, be introverted, hide in corners, mess with people who get on your nerves and irritate you on purpose, but just be chill. That's recluse core.
Have a way bigger reputation, disproportionate to your actual ferocity. Lots of earth tones, dark colors.
Speak softly and carry a big amount of venom.
Yeah. Again, liking bugs.
Being really good at violin.
Being the one friend that, oh, you look like so-and-so, you look like so-and-so, and be like, yeah, I get that a lot. Just having one of those faces.
Staying in a very defined range, but people swear they've seen you all over.
Yeah, you have an alibi, but people are like, I saw you bowling last night. You're like, I was, babysitting so-and-so, like, whatever. But they're like, I swear I saw you in Venice, Italy. You're like, I was in Alabama. I was at home.
That is recluse core. It's going to be the big summer thing. Hot recluse summer.
Hot recluse summer? That's what I'm waiting for. Staying inside.
Hardly interacting with people.
Being really solitary.
Being really solitary, but being like the hot topic at the same time. Like, people wish they were you.
They wish they were you. You're being very mysterious, very edgy. Like, the paparazzi are always talking about you, but it's like, we don't really know who she is. Like, what's going on over there?
All right. Give us a topic.
Well, this is a question. What formerly thought extinct creature would you like science to discover still exists?
I'm going to go, this is so big, and this is so, like, open-ended of a question, and they're not giving me a time frame or anything. I'm just going to say Brachiosaurus. How great would that be if they're like, that like 80-foot long dinosaur that we thought died like, I don't know, 80 million years ago? I'm guesstimating the exact figures here. Yeah, we found one.
Just roaming around.
That would just break the world. People would just be like, what? It's that scene in Jurassic Park where he pulls up and sees the Brachiosaurus. That would just be the entire paleontology, zoology, every last community.
Yeah, history, everything.
Like, we could discover a bird in Borneo that we thought went extinct 30 years ago all the time. They said any. That was my answer.
I was also going to say, I was thinking of dinosaurs, but specifically not a dinosaur. But I would love if they were just like, oh yeah, Quetzalcoatlus,
that was
still
my second
around,
choice.
Still flying around, or any of the other large pterosaurs. A group which I had to look it up, which I'm probably going to
Anzarchids or something. Yeah, something like that.
Those which are
the really big pterodactyls.
AZHDARCHIDS.
Arachnids.
Arachnids. Can you believe it? Recluse core with us from the beginning. Did you know? I learned this the other day that pterosaurs, their wings weren't just skin stretched between bones like bats are. They had muscle in their wings, and so could tense and control their wing shape a little bit, or maybe not a little bit, a lot of it, and that could assist them in flying. And it's also, instead of like birds kind of have, like bats kind of fly with their hand out and they have a thumb sticking out. But yeah, one of the most successful Cretaceous pterosaur groups, and the species in that group had some of the largest wingspans, and just like, it's all in their pinky, one super long pinky out.
When in doubt, pinky out. They're the classiest archosaurs.
They are, and they got the rest of their little fingers at the front of the wing joint, but it's all in the pinky.
All right, I'm going to start a new, let's say, final question, because we had some fun. Let's do two more. This has been a good time.
Yeah.
So we can play this again.
We're in charge here. Rhett's not here. We can do whatever we want.
Let's see.
If all the podcast's hosts don't show up within 15 minutes, you're legally allowed to record whatever you want.
Yep.
Ooh, someone said plants during the eclipse.
That would be something we should, like, research.
We should.
Not just talk about for 2 minutes.
And not just talk about for 2 minutes, but hopefully we'll be able to talk a little bit about eclipses soon-ish, maybe, because there is an eclipse coming up across much of the continental United States that we plan on viewing, so stay tuned.
What is your favorite bird, and why is it a cassowary?
Okay, because we're sad that pteranodons and pterosaurs and dinosaurs aren't real. Dinosaurs are real, and they're called cassowaries, and they're here and they exist. If you have seen, like, I know that, ostriches and emus are like kind of the more well-known of the large flightless birds, but if you look at a cassowary, you're like, oh, yes.
I saw one when I was in Australia, and it was about 5 feet tall and crossing the road, and I'm like, that looks like a velociraptor, only bigger because they weren't that big. Velociraptors. Also, underrated cassowary quality. No one's talking about it. No one's memeing about it. We are talking about how they are violent murder turkeys. Cassowary eggs. Look it up. It is insane. It is like if somebody crossbred a bird egg and a lime. They are they are dyed Easter eggs. They are the brightest green you can imagine, just in this gigantic egg.
What I should have done is, or what would be fun for, I don't know, somebody to do is, because it was just recently Easter, dyeing Easter eggs to look like specific kinds of bird eggs. That would be so fun, because you could have all the different colors. Some of them have speckles. That would be a really cool, fun challenge to see, like, who can get their egg closest to XYZ. You know, you have 3 different kinds of bird eggs. You got to get as close as you can. That would be fun. Also, I need to double check the name of the fruit, but there is a kind of fruit whose seeds are only dispersed by cassowaries because they're the only ones big enough to eat them. So they are essential for the fruit of that tree.
Let's see.
I'm going to double check the name of it.
Cassowaries are crucial to seed dispersal.
They're keystone species, the cassowary. Oh, there's a bunch of different...
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's one specific one, but just they're doing their thing. All right, Io, choose our closing question.
All right. We're reloading our poll to see which ones we got in here. Let's see what we got. All right, to close out, I think we are going to finish with, drumroll please. Are you not going to do a drum roll? Okay, that's okay. We can add it in post. We're going to do the Toucan Wars. A great piece of lore that even birthed the logo for the nonprofit that we started.
I can tell you the tale of the Toucan Wars in 30 seconds.
Do it.
It is January of 2019. One of our mods, Leroy, really likes toucans. He says, "Hey guys, it's the year of the toucan." I say, "Hey, let's try and convince people this is a real thing and tell the group it's the year of the toucan." Rhett, let's change the name of the group to Toucan Memes for Ecological Fiends. Rhett, oh no, we can't change the group name back for 28 days. The group. Thanks, I hate it.
The other half of the group, when we changed the name back, I thought this was all about toucans. I'm confused why we are suddenly not all about toucans. Oh, I should meme that.
We had these counterfactions of shoebill gifs and hornbills, and basically there was like 3 toucan puns we could meme, and then we just sort of ran out of ideas within 5 days. And then the biggest hype was, oh my god, they're changing the name back. Yeah, that was a disaster. And it kind of spawned the like happy year of the toucan, happy year of this that we've continued to this day.
I mean, I don't think it was a disaster. If anything, I would say a rousing success. Because what better, harmless, one could argue fun, than making a fun joke and then realizing you have to commit to the bit. I'm a big fan of committing to the bit. So being like, aha, a bit, and then realizing, oh, we have to like really commit and lean into it.
Yeah, we had no choice but to commit. We were stuck with toucans, and it...
Stuck between two cans.
Stuck between two cans.
If we ever do a Between Two Ferns style interview, it could be called Between Two Cans. Trademark, copyright, put that bookmark in the future agenda.
That's great.
You just listened to an idea generation factory, listener. Welcome to a peek behind the curtain of how things get done around here.
Welcome to what our mind sounds like. Welcome to the background noise of Wild Green Streams' mind at any given moment.
The inner machinations of our mind are an enigma.
It's just a big empty space of brown recluse webs that are trapping toucans. That's what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's our show. Thank you for listening. You can support the show at patreon.com/wildgreenmemes. That's memes with an M. And we'll send you cool stickers and magnets and stuff in the mail. Until next time, I'm Curtis.
I'm Io.
And happy Year of the Raccoon.
Woohoo! You can find us wherever podcasts can be found.
Well, you're already listening to it, so I think
some people don't know. Some people don't know.
You know that it's the same vibe as when you go to AMC theaters or any movie theater and there's an ad for the theater before you watch the movie.
Yeah. We come to this place to laugh, to cry, to care.
To care.
We need that, all of us.
All of us.
When you go someplace you've never been before.
Wild Green Streams. We make podcasts better.
It's true.